Hello everybody, welcome to today's episode in what is essentially a bit more of a season summary video rather than anything else. Main reason being that at the time of recording, the FIFA Football Manager World Cup is going on. So basically I spent pretty much all of my day off on Thursday just sat watching the streams of that and just playing through the save. And I ended up kind of just progressing. And in the interests of trying to be efficient, I thought, you know what, we'll just keep going and I'll summarize everything that's happened this season in a one-off video. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. We're not going to see a game today. I'm just going to try and summarize everything to keep you guys up to date. In the interest of speed, basically, that's why I kind of just pushed on. Because even though the chances are this save is probably going to carry on into FM25, we're already like coming up to probably about 2 months before we start getting a bit of FM25, hopefully a bit of early access. So I am trying to get this save moving along as quickly as possible. I'm pretty sure it's just season 18 that we have finished, because we're moving into 2042 now, so 19 years on from when we started. So really pushing on, and let's see if we can keep going. I want to do us all a massive favour, everyone, by the way, drop a like down below and leave a comment. Season 18 saw us really return to the top of complete domination of the Icelandic domestic football scene. We finally got that elusive invincible season while cleaning up domestically, getting a domestic quadruple, winning every trophy available. Shout out to Hokar. Basically, they used to be our affiliate club when they were lower down the divisions. We helped them get promoted. Obviously, as soon as they came up into the top flight, the board cut that affiliation with them. I think they stayed up and then went down, and then they've come back up again. And in their first season back up, they qualified for the Conference League. So fair play to them. They've got a couple of players on loan for us. I don't know how well they're going to do in the Conference League, but you know, good on them. Maybe it will hasten their sort of move into professional status. We're still only on the 5 teams, which is us, Hafnarfjordur, Breither, HK, and Valor Reykjavik. Hafnarfjordur have been brilliant this season. Just about managed to cling on to that UCL spot. They will go in at the 3rd round qualifying of the Champions League. And Breither, the team who are going to be going straight into the Europa League playoff. I believe it's the playoff. That's what it says on the coefficients. But this year, HK went straight in at the Europa League group phase. I'm not sure if they got a bye somewhere along the line, but they didn't have to play any qualifiers at all. As for us, last season, we went straight in at the Champions League phase and kicked things off with a nice, comfortable 2-0 win against Dinamo Zagreb, with 2 of the new signings we touched on last time, Nahuel Rivero and Santiago Coelho getting the goals. But then we welcomed Nice to Iceland, and despite having probably the lion's share of the chances, not even the lion's share, very slight share of the chances, it was a penalty from Vaclav Kuler who got them the win. And yeah, really disappointing that, you know, from 2 winnable games, we'd only got 1 win. But then we went and welcomed Liverpool, and we beat them 1-0. Obviously helped by the sending off of Alexis Kameni. But to be fair, even then, I would have thought that Liverpool still probably would have backed themselves to get something from the game. And to be honest with you, we completely shut them out, only really allowing them to have 2 shots, one of which was on target. And then we went to Barcelona, where despite actually creating a few chances of very limited possession, we did get smashed 4-1. Sergio Tabakoru is just unbelievable in this save. I don't know if anyone is following second yellow card save mode. I imagine most of you are. He has got Tabakoru as well in his team. I think he's a face in the game player. And this is what he looks like for me at the age of 30. He is just unbelievable. I think he's won like a couple of Ballon d'Ors already. He's just insane. And then it was our old foes in Arsenal. I feel like we've played them pretty much every year consistently in the Champions League now for the last 5 years since we've been getting back in, you know, on a sort of regular basis. And we just had nothing, absolutely nothing. They battered us 3-0. Some really poor performances. Coelho with a 6.1, Krokolovsky, who we touched on last time, with a 6, Chiapara with a 6.2, Baka Hansen with a 6.1. Just really, really poor performance. But thankfully we did draw Leipzig, and as we know, we just seem to always beat them, whether we're home or away, and it was 4-0 this time. We seem to love scoring goals against them. 2 from Jordan Hunt, 2 from Nahuel Rivero. And then I would say we were unlucky really to draw 2-2 against Sporting, easily the better team. And yeah, just a couple of sort of slight slips at the back just allowed them in. 2 headers from Salvador Vitor. Yeah, really frustrating. One from like a back post cross, Bear in mind, he is a centre-half, but I'm guessing he was... Well, he can't even be playing as a wide centre-back. I don't know. He literally got onto the cross here and then from a corner. So, yeah, very annoying. Before going to Naples and just about holding on for a 3-2 win, Rinaldi, Krokolowski and Gutierrez with the goals before they sort of made it a little bit nervous right towards the end. And that meant we finished 15th, so we were thinking, great, we'll get a favourable draw. And when we drew Udinese, I thought, finally a chance to hopefully get past the knockout playoff round. In the last 5 years, we've had City, who we got knocked out by, Feyenoord, who we were really, I felt we should have done a lot better against, Milan and Arsenal, who we just narrowly missed out on. So I thought Udinese, brilliant. And then we lost 2-0, as you can see. Spasiewicz and Bakker Hansen and even Krokolowski, poor performances. Basically, these 2 goals just came from little balls in behind the defence. Really frustrating. We created enough chances, you know, and you can see from the XG at least to sort of create something and get a goal, but it just wasn't to be. And yeah, just wasn't enough. 1-0 at home. They didn't have any shots on target. They had more possession. We just couldn't create anything more concrete, and we dip out for the 5th year in a row at the playoff round. Braithwaite, on the other hand, smashed it. They got past Ajax and Olympiacos in the qualifiers to get into the Champions League phase all under their own steam with a 1-0 draw and a 1-0 win against Trabzonspor kicking things off. Well, they lost it into drew with Freiburg and narrow loss away at Munich before beating Valencia at home, and then they beat Anderlecht 2-1 at home before losing 2-0 at home to Real Madrid, which did see them through where they lost 3-0 on aggregate against Man United, and I think they can be very proud of how they did, really. Now, as you said, HK did go straight in at the Europa League phase. They were unlucky to get knocked out last year at the round of 16 by Brighton. What's that? 4-3 on aggregate. And I'm pretty sure it was actually really late. Oh no, it was, yeah, Brighton scored quite late and then Björnsson scored even later. Björnsson has actually come back on loan back to us, as has Marcus Mellon. I don't know why HK didn't extend their loans at the end of the season, and I feel like it's probably cost them a little bit, and you'll see why. They had a pretty shocking start to the league phase. They won 5-0 against Batumi, but then didn't pick up any wins apart from a 1-0, well, apart from any points, sorry, apart from a 1-0 draw at St. Gallen of Switzerland. But they did manage to scrape through with a 1-0 draw against Atleti, 2-2 against AEK Athens, and a 4-2 win against Boavista. But then they lost 2-1 to FK Sarajevo, throwing away a 1-0 lead and losing 2-0 in Sarajevo. Meanwhile, Hafnarfjordur went in at the Europa League qualifying 3rd round, and they did sail through quite nicely initially, but getting a comfortable win over Winterthur. I did check where they're from, actually. Switzerland. But then they also got undone by FK Sarajevo, losing 3-2 on aggregate, sorry. But then they beat Partizan 3-1, Linfield 6-0, Vålerenga and Twente 3 and 4-0 respectively. Before losing this time to Winterthur 2-1 away from home, before then beating Getafe 3-1 at home. And they are still alive and kicking. They went through, I think, 3rd. And they have just beaten Rapid Wien 4-3 away from home. And they are actually due to play the 2nd leg tonight. So we'll see how they get on. But yeah, they smashed the Conference League. They were really unlucky, I think, to lose this game. What actually were the match stats? I mean, to be fair, even game. But I think, you know, after having beaten them earlier on in the Europa League, they would have been really frustrated to have lost that. They've still got quite a lot of our loanees. Dusan Alexic is actually signed for them permanently now. We'll touch on transfers in a bit, but we've actually sold quite a few of our loan farm players to the clubs they're on loan at, just to see if they can develop really well. Then potentially the Icelandic clubs can sort of reinvest, you know, potentially sell them for big money, and that can sort of help grow the profile of the club if they can then, you know, boost their finances, be seen as a club which can develop talent and sell them on, and then you know, reinvest hopefully into the squad quite sensibly. And then last but not least, our other European representatives were Valor Reykjavik getting comfortably past Spartak Varna of Moldova, is it? No, Bulgaria. Before then losing to Maribor, what's that? 7-4 on aggregate, and they'll be really disappointed with that. But we've really bolstered the loan farm with a lot of transfers. Basically, we had a massive transfer budget through player sales, which we'll touch on. And we basically just absolutely fleshed out the loan farm, and a lot of players have gone out on loan in this transfer window. So yeah, as you'll see, 83 million in, but 119 million out. So I believe we'd already touched on Giordano Lisi last time. So we managed to convince him eventually to sign for us permanently. He's on big wages, but he was someone we really wanted to bring in. He felt like we really felt like he would fit the squad in that Segundo Volante role. And then we brought in Guillem Augusto, who are basically training to play as the inverted wing back on that right-hand side. So he's working on his passing, but I feel like he's got a lot of other good attributes to sort of fill that spot quite nicely. He cost us 5 mil from Palmeiras. I'll show you sort of a little bit more about him. Fairly professional, slight consistency issues, but he is only 18, so I'm sure we can work that out. He's currently wanted by Man City, fantastic. So that's going to be fun trying to keep hold of him. Morgan Shodal came in. So again, we'll touch on reasons why in terms of outgoings, but we're basically training to play this inverted fullback role on the left-hand side. Yeah, hopefully he will develop with that nicely. He's 20, coming from Boda. He probably overspent slightly on him, but I'm hopeful that with the potential for his development, he'll just turn into a useful, solid player for us. He's happy to be a fringe player as well, which is so important for us at the moment. Now, this is the big one. Lenny Charpentier, we've been keeping an eye on him for about 3 seasons now. He's up for loan just in case anyone wanted to come in for him. But basically, obviously, we've been touching for ages about, is Chiapara good enough? Is he not? And I think the argument is that at the moment, yes. Oh, you can't probably see because I'm in the way. Chiapara is definitely good enough at the moment. His value's actually come up quite a lot as well. He is a very good goalkeeper, Chiapara. He is 30 now. And Charpentier, at the age of 22 now, he's 21 when we signed him. He has developed so much in the last 3 years. As I said, we've been keeping a really close eye on him. He's developed really, really, really well. And he wanted to leave Standard Liège. He demanded, it cost a lot of money. Like I said, we had it. We had the money. We had about 50, 60 mil in the transfer budget. The board initially gave us 20, and then with player sales, it absolutely shot up. But I feel like he is hopefully going to be worth it, especially if he can hit that 4.5-star potential. He likes big matches. He's determined. He's classed as world class, to be fair, or potentially to be world class. He's got really good command of his area. I think he could be the future #1 for us. Like I said, he's happy to be a backup as well, so hopefully keep him happy. But yeah, he was the biggest signing we made, and yeah, we'll see if it paid off. Sorry, let me just get back to this. So, and then finally, Dimitri Marmat came in from Juchgriki Stancom for 2.9 mil. Came to our attention, the scouts did find him, and then a couple of like big clubs like City, Bayern, and PSG, I think, bid for him, but for whatever reason, it didn't come off. So we decided to just go for him because we thought, well, he's wanted by bigger clubs. Obviously, if we can showcase his talent, you know, he's played in the Champions League, got a goal. Maybe he can, you know, we can flip him for a big profit in the future. I don't think he's ever going to be good enough to cut it here. I think too many of his mentals are lacking, his bravery, his teamwork, and his work rate in particular. But you never know. Even if he turns into a decent player for us for like a season or two, plays consistently on that left-hand side, maybe does really well, and then we end up sort of flipping him for, you know, even if we sort of make sort of 10 mil on him or something like that. And now we come on to the main out. So Mahmoud Radwan was someone who was constantly demanding more game time. He wanted to be an important player. We were trying to develop him to be a bit more proficient at the deeper roles that we were using, the Regista or the Volante. And he was doing okay, but we started getting bids in for him. And in the end, we decided just to offer him out. And Pyramids came in and basically bought him for $1 million more than we signed him for. They bought him back off us. So yeah, we were quite happy to do that deal because I never felt like he was actually ever going to be good enough to be a star for us, especially with some of the other players we had coming through. I felt like he was always going to be down the pecking order, and he was never going to accept that. We ended up making a loss on Tuchin Celik as well. Another player who we were rejecting bids for, and he wanted to leave. But then basically the bids from Saudi dried up, and when Galatasaray bid for 1.2, he was expecting it to be accepted because he'd basically come to us saying, I want to leave. I want to go to these other teams. And we were like, oh, well, you know, they're not offering the money for you, blah, 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 blah. He counted as a foreign player as well. And then we'd kind of decided, you know what, we are going to sell him. So I think we ended up actually not registering him for the league in the June because we knew we were going to sell him in the July. And yeah, we ended up accepting the 1.2 mil from Galatasaray because he was expecting it to be accepted or something, because he'd expressed his, you know, intention of leaving. So we just accepted it, A, to keep him happy, but B, because we knew we had a guaranteed bid on the table, and C, in the hope it was going to flush some of the clubs out. No one else came out for him, so in the end we made about a 3 million loss on him, and he's gone to Galatasaray. Very easy profit, just quick to touch on Claudio Echeverri, sold him for 115k to Argentinos Juniors. Yeah, I think that went through in the July as well. Just sort of weren't really sort of going to be in a position to really play him. He really, his physicals really started to drop off, and we didn't really want him anymore, to be honest with you. We had players coming through who we wanted to prioritise their development. So yeah, nice easy profit on the free signing. And a player we had touched on that we were potentially going to look at to sell was David Mahadzic. We asked his agent if there was any interest for him, and he was like, yeah, we've got, there's clubs interested. One of them was Ajax. They bought him for 2.8 mil. We signed him for free. I think we had him for like 2 years. So yeah, easy profit, easy flip. And yeah, he was really important for us in those 2 years in that transition to the new tactic. And basically allowed us to sort of blood some players in and, really sort of test it out. He was perfect for us as a regista, did really, really well. And yeah, he's gone on to Ajax now, where he's played a fair bit, so good on him. Just a quick loan farm player to touch on. Paul Hall did really, really well at Starnen. For some reason, they didn't extend his loan deal, which I'm sure they regret because they got relegated quite comfortably last season. We didn't have space for him in the team. He was never, ever going to be someone who we thought, we're going to loan you out and then you're going to come and do a job for us. He was literally brought in, I think we only signed him for like 800k. 500k. He was literally brought in purely from a point of view of, we're going to bring you in, loan you out, potentially sell you for a profit, and he turned into such a good loan farm player that we were just quite happy for him to stay there. But in the end, Starnen just, dropped the ball really. Milan Hambalek was the next big out. So clubs were coming in for him in the July. He was starting to get a bit like, I really want to go. I think Southampton, but no, it wasn't Southampton. Marseille were bidding for him and someone else. In the end, Nice came in for him and offered us 21 million. Bear in mind, we'd signed him for like 5.5. He was good. He'd been decent for us, but, he was not really going to get much better than he was currently. And to make a nice sort of 15, 16 mil profit was just too good to say no to. So yeah, he went. Basically, this summer, we sort of prioritised trying to trim the squad down to ease the registration burden we had. We had Tomer Ben Haim, who we were quite happy to play on the left. He's had a few injury problems, but he is hopefully over the worst of them now. And Erwin Atanasio actually came in really, really well on that left-hand side, playing as an inside forward. And he was actually our top scorer last season. So yeah, really nice bit of easy money to be made off Milan Hambalek after literally being here for 2 years. Another deal that we didn't actually particularly want to do was selling Branislav Tufedzic. He was establishing himself as our main inside, inverted fullback on the left-hand side. We were really happy with how he was doing. He was developing well. We just wanted to do a little bit of work on things like his passing and stuff. But then bids kept rolling in. And then he just kicked up a massive stink. Like, I want to go. I think we had bids from like City, Bayern, etc. In the end, we ended up selling him to Inter for 11.25 mil. And we made a profit of about 9 mil on him. Disappointing, but you know what? Maybe it's for the best. Good money. And, we are sort of trying to sort of reinvest that quite nicely. So another player who left was Andre Osorio. He was someone who we'd sort of thought, well, we've got Spasijevic, we're going to prioritise him. Jovicic can play at right back as well. This was, I think, before we'd signed Augusto. We signed Osorio for a free. And when it came up to the end of the registration window, we were like, let's just see who's interested in him. And yeah, Al Ettifaq came in and gave us 8.25 mil. So easy profit again. And yeah, he did well for us, but you know what, we had better players, and at the age of 29, it made sense to ship him out while we could get a bit of decent money for him. Al Ettifaq also took Vladimir Basic off our hands. Now, a couple of years ago, we touched on him. We signed him on a free from Napoli. With the hope of him being a loan farm player, we struggled to get him out into the division, and we ended up just loading him out to Zagreb and Monaco. They all had options to buy, but they didn't take it. And in the end, Al Ettifaq came in and gave us 6.5 mil. Super easy profit. He wasn't on particularly high wages, I don't think, with us. And yeah, to get 6.5 mil straight profit was brilliant. And then the massive sale was Evan Villome. We got 63 million for him, 50 mil up front, and then an installments package. And they've just paid us 12 million due to the appearance he's made in the league. Chelsea came in and he was like, I really want to go to Chelsea. To the point where he was sort of, starting to get a little bit aggy, kicking up a bit of a fuss. And we managed to negotiate them up, and yeah, he went. It's not snookered us too much because we have got Sacha Bersha who can play there, and we have been playing Gutierrez as an inside forward, and we have been playing Rivero as an inside forward on that side. So it's not like it's completely knackered us. He was very, very good for us. He did have a consistency issue, and to get 63 mil for him was fantastic, and that has funded so much of what we've done. And then I've just moved myself out the way just so you can see the deals we've done below that. these are some of the main ones we've done. So for Barnov has, you know, made his loan move at Braither permanent, same as Jönsson and Alexis, which we touched on. And then Saro, Ronki, and Sundström, they were all players that we got for free. They've all signed permanently for HK. Ormerson was a youth intake player who's been at HK for years. Sold him, and Bednar as well. He's someone who we signed for, I can't remember how much, 700k. He's been at HK pretty much since he joined us, and yeah, he's gone there permanently as well. HK, interestingly, actually did change their manager. Their manager, who'd been so good for them, went to Marseille. So they got a new one who came from, I think, came from Valor. And he's not done too badly, but I was a little bit worried when their manager left that it would potentially snooker their European dreams. But they did okay. But like I said, I think them not renewing the Björnsson and Mellon loans has really sort of shafted them a little bit because they were so good for them for so long. But it does mean that we've got 2 homegrown players back at the club now because Mellon's been here for in Iceland for so long, and obviously Björnsson came through our youth intake, so it does help a little bit with registration. Mellon is actually really, really good. I'll show you him in a minute. But yeah, we'll see what happens with them. I'm not quite sure how they're going to fit into the team. It might be that excuse me, there's interest in Spasijevic still, so it might be that he leaves and Mellon just takes over as a number 1 right back for us. And then, as I said, a lot of that business has essentially funded everything we've done this year. Pretty much all of these players are loan farm players, with the exception of potentially Philip Bernetan, who I am still trying to get out on loan, just because I think he needs regular match sort of game time at the moment. He's coming as a fringe player, and we've got players in his position who are wanting important roles. So we might sort of have to prioritize them, develop them, potentially sell them, and he can then come in. Is he actually wanted? He's not wanted by anyone yet. But yeah, the 53 million that we spent on these has basically been funded, excuse me, by all the sales we made, and most of these have actually already got loan moves. So Angel Hernandez, we brought in from the Barcelona B team. He's gone out on loan to Braither. Same as, where is he? Alice Novak. We actually found him a while ago, and we thought he might be an option for us. Paid a little bit more for him than I sort of would ideally have liked to have done, 4.7 mil. But like I said, we had the money, and with the way the squad is, we've got a lot of first teamers kicking around in the squad at the moment, that we can't sort of really displace too much, and we don't have the registration slots. So it was like, you know what, we might as well just loan out a lot of these players, buy a lot of loan farm players, really flesh out the domestic league. As you can see, just by purely how many players have gone out on loan sort of since the start of February, and there's more of these are going out actually as well. If I look at the outs, Gunesh is due to go out. Martin Janssen, why did you reject that move? Oh, you idiot. But anyway, and then we've got a couple more actually joining as well. So Isidre Gisbert is coming in from Barcelona as well on a free. He's going to go straight into the loan farm. Martin Hickshey is coming in. He is potentially going to be someone who will likely just go straight out into the loan farm, may be able to do a sort of bit part job for us as a bench player. He's not coming in as a regular starter. That's just his contract at Sparta, I think it is. Vicente Julio is coming in as well from Barcelona SC in Ecuador. Again, another loan farm player, but young, 17. Basically, a part of this sort of thing we've done is tried to sign a lot of young players for the homegrown quota, because hopefully we can get them in young, and then they can sort of flesh out the domestic teams with homegrown status as well. But this guy, Cesar Davalos, might actually end up being a useful player for us. His mentals are brilliant. Excuse me, and I'm hoping that will really help with his development when he comes in and hopefully get the loan move. Frank Diabate is coming in on a free signing from Bayern Munich, again, purely just to go straight out into the loan farm. And as you can see, we've still got 16 million in the budget left as well. But we are scouting for some more sort of first team ready players, just because I feel like that little bit of lack of experience is just costing us when it comes to like the Champions League. You know, we've got a lot of youngsters. Some of them actually really like big matches already as well. But I just feel like we need someone to come in, 25, 26 years old, and just steady the ship in times like that. Someone with a bit more about them maybe while the youngsters develop. In great news, AKUREYRI going through to the quarterfinals of the Conference League. Obviously 2 years ago, I think it was, they got to the final, so we'll obviously be hoping for a repeat of that. Well, everyone, I think that is it for now. Like I said, just a quick sort of summary video today. Oh yeah, the stadium expansion has finished. We're now up to 20,000, and we have basically sold it out pretty much for the last couple of games since then, including the Udinese game. I think we had about 19,500 or something like that. So gate receipts have like gone up by about 200k. So yeah, we're going to push on. We'll see how AKUREYRI get on, and hopefully next time I'll have a little bit more content for you. But yeah, we're just going to push on, get into the summer, see what happens with the squad. There are a few players who are kind of expecting to potentially leave if a bid comes in, because we had like bids coming for Spasiewicz, etc. I was like, I can't sell you now because this is in January because I can't replace you. So they were like, okay, that's. Some of them were like, no, I don't want the interest to potentially disappear. But I was just like, tough, get on with it. I can't sell you. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to keep the core of the squad, because we've actually got a couple more homegrowners now. So Bakker Hansen counts as homegrown. Jordan Hunt is getting his homegrown status this summer as well. Fezich would have done, which is really annoying, but that's been the most important thing now, because we're sort of playing hardball with some of these youngsters and keeping hold of them. In the past, when we've had bids coming for like our 19, 20-year-olds and they've been demanding to leave, we've just kind of had to suck it up and let them go. And that's meant that we've missed out on those homegrown players for the league quota and the Champions League quota. But now, because we've been getting them in young, sort of like 17, 18, they're getting that homegrown status, which is what we need going forward, especially when our youth intakes are just so trash. So yeah, hopefully keep pushing, keep working. I'll see you very soon. Enjoy the FIFA World Cup, everyone, if you've been watching it. I've really liked it. It's been brilliant. Some of the drama's been fantastic, and fair play to all the competitors, absolutely busting it, especially South Korean guy, what's his name, Jae-ron Hugh, on the second day, so the first full like season, basically just riding solo for the last half of the day and absolutely speed running through to the end of the season with Brighton. Massive credit to him, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, hopefully next time I see you, we'll be in a position, Champions League, doing well, and hopefully we'll be getting past the playoff round and finally hit a round of 16. I'll see you very soon, everyone. Bye for now.